Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we got a special video here. We've done this on a few different title reigns, and I've been wanting to do this more and more often when we have like necessarily, I don't even know if an influential title reign or just a title reign in general that like has lasted a couple of defenses, but we want to go over the matches of him winning the title or her winning the title and then going into the title reign where we rate it. So we got Solo Sokoa. He just recently lost the US title. He had it for a pretty decent amount of days. I think it was like 62, which isn't the worst. I do feel like this title reign was played with a lot of issues, which we'll jump into as we go along. But I do think it was something at least. I think they definitely tried something here. I don't think it worked out as well as it should have been. But we start off at Night of Champions. It was the U.S. title with Jacob Fatu being the champion and Solo going after him. They had set up, Jacob wanting to get away from the group because Solo was being oppressive and basically, just like, hey, you ain't gonna win. You're not gonna do this. You ain't, you don't mean shit. It really started from Backlash even before that because he wanted to win that. Jacob wanted to win that completely by himself, but Solo came down with JC Mateo to screw him over. And overall, I think this match wasn't really that bad. It kind of suffered from just being like it felt out of nowhere that Solo ended up winning. I do think, like at the time, I thought it was the right call for Solo to win, and I think that they were gonna do something with it, but I don't think it ended up happening. I put it in a C. I don't think it was the worst thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. I thought it was a decent thing, but having him beat Jacob there just kind of felt not right. Jacob had won it at WrestleMania. I feel like Fatu could have definitely held on to it for a little bit longer and they could have stretched out the storyline. But they pulled the trigger, I think, because they wanted to really get Solo over and his group over. And I don't know if we're going to get there, with this title reign. So we'll have to be the judge of that also. Then the next defense came up to Saturday Night Event. It was Solo versus his brother Jimmy Uso. Right call on the match. Just the whole build up to it was kind of random because it was just like it was kind of out of the blue. I mean, Jimmy had been kind of resisting him and all that type of stuff, so it worked out. But I think like when they slated it to that Saturday night main event, I think kind of really solidified this as the not to be that anything crazy. I kind of thought they were doing that because Solo would have destroyed Jimmy in this match, and then at some point Jimmy would come back and be able to take the title off of him. But they ended up not going that route, so this match ended up still being that bad. I'd put it in D. Honestly, I'd probably put it lower if I had an F category. It just really didn't work out. They had no in-ring chemistry for being brothers, which we've seen that with Jimmy versus Jay was still one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever, and it's just like they're not bad when they do other stuff, but when they go against each other, it just seems to really not be anything. And then we had SummerSlam. It was the rematch everybody really was wanting in a steel cage. Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. I thought this was going to be great. I I fell asleep the first watch through. I had been watching the entire PLE, and I got to part Solo was walking into the cage, and I conked out. And I woke up about maybe a couple minutes left in the match. I thought it had been a long match. It was really not at all, and it wasn't much. The best part of the match was after it was over. Fatu from the top of the steel cage jumping in there on who was left in there, and Jimmy also hadn't come in there to make the save. This match just really wasn't it. I had to rewatch it. That's what I think killed me. I fell asleep and then I had to rewatch this match because I was like, oh, maybe I missed a banger. And I was like, no, this is definitely the worst of all the title defenses. Um, I can't even say I could fault either one of them. It's not like they had a bad match. It really wasn't anything, especially being in a steel cage. And I'm gonna say this till I'm blue in the face. The match where you can just walk out of the steel cage is the dumbest thing in the world. At least like have to go out of it from the top. At least we get something crazy maybe, or like at least a cool climbing spot. But we don't even get that. We just get this kind of lame ass walkout. So definitely the worst of all the title defense. But yeah, it still wasn't great. Then we had the most recent episode of SmackDown, Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa. This is after Sami's pinned him twice and just kind of made him look like a fool. His whole group kind of like yeah, they got their licks in, but they've been just kind of just been in this really bad vortex of losing. Even with their tag teams stuff. They were trying to go into the tag division and they get knocked out of that too. I just thought it was another bad call there. Like, don't put them in there if you were going to just have them lose. Like, they could have had, if you were going to put them in there, really, if anything, you should have put them against the White Sick, which I think is eventually what they're going to do. But now with the U.S. title being gone to it, it really drops the priority of this feud. Even though the tag team titles are there, I think it really drops it where it's going to be non-existent compared to some of the SmackDown stuff going on. This match I thought was probably the best out of all the matches. Uh, I don't know if that's saying much because I'm still not going to put it above a C. I'm going to really be honest. I really just don't think it goes above a C, and I'm kind of sad that that's kind of how it went. I really do think that this title reign could have been booked better because thinking of Solo Sokoa over the last 2 years, he's pinned John Cena, he's pinned Cody Rhodes, he's pinned Roman Reigns. Those are some marquee matches that he has done, and then he's lost every house show match humanly possible, and it's just not worked out for him. I think something major needs to change. Either give him a way more fuel to his fire and be able to have his group destroy everybody, or just pull the plug on it and try to get him somewhere else. Because I think Solo is still a underrated wrestler in general. I think his gimmick and his look works really good, but you really got to nurture it compared to other gimmicks and stuff like that. Because if you just let him go out there and take L's or make him look so weak, like they have, it just doesn't work. And I put this title run in a D. I really think this was not worth what they ended up doing. I think they made the wrong decision on one, giving him the title. I at the time thought it was the right decision, but I think now, looking in hindsight, it was a very bad decision to do. And I think they definitely picked the wrong person to take the title off of him. And I think they've kind of completely just lost that U.S. title for those what it's been since WrestleMania, so about 4.5 months. I think that was just completely gone. There was no point of having this. Actually, wasn't as long because he lost title Night Champions, but I digress. It was still, it feels like it was a lot longer, but it ended up being like 2 months of just not needing to happen, and we never got the closure because Sami Zayn as champion is just not it. It really didn't work for Sami Zayn because now that Sami has the title, it doesn't do any good for him. Like he's in a worse position than he wanted to be, wanting to be close to the heavyweight championships and stuff. And yeah, so overall D. But if you like these type of videos, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't do them super often, but I do want to do them more. So if there is a want or need for more of them, I will definitely cover more of them. But until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.